Don't be afraid to suffer for his cause. Don't be moved from your confidence in the gospel is sufficient to rescue you and any person that you're speaking to. Commit yourself to Christ and his cause, even unto death. There's a word here for us as the church. We do not live in a culture that values sacrifice and suffering for anything beyond your own personal benefit. People will beat themselves up in the gym thinking it's going to somehow enhance their well-being. They'll do that. But to suffer for someone else and for some other cause, it just doesn't make sense to our culture. We live in a culture that puts a high premium on comfort and security and peace. If you don't believe it, just watch the advertisements on your television. That makes sense to us, you see. It's our culture. And so one of the reasons that missions and evangelism and engaging an aggressive or oppressing world is we risk losing comfort and security and peace and reputation. Juan Sanchez, in his commentary on this text, says, subconsciously, the idea of comfort and security as a right, our constitutional right, is so ingrained in our Western psyche that deep down, most of us expect to serve the Lord at no personal cost whatsoever. I think that's true. Subconsciously. So while the Smyrna believers face tribulation, we expect peace. While they experience poverty, we expect prosperity. While they endured slander, we expect honor. We encourage our kids to study hard at school so that they can grow up to enjoy a life of peace, prosperity, and honor too. And when our expectations are not met, we assume that something has gone wrong. I think what it says, do not fear what you are about to suffer. That's a direct command. And it doesn't sound quite like we would hope it would sound. What we would hope Jesus would say is, do not fear, you're not going to suffer. That's sort of the American version. Right? If Jesus really loves you, and if he's really sovereign and really good, as we all believe he is, well, Jesus would never willingly cause you or allow you to suffer. And if you're suffering, you must be doing something wrong. That is not what the text says. It's not what Jesus says. Jesus says, don't be afraid of what you are about to suffer. It's like the dentist saying, don't be afraid, this is really going to hurt. And he doesn't apologize. They're going to throw you into prison. They're going to put you to death. This is going to happen to you. So don't be afraid. Well, what is Jesus seeing that makes that reasonable counsel? Well, what Jesus sees is that this suffering is not an accident. It's not an unfortunate byproduct of being a Christian. It is at the essence of following Jesus, the one who died and came to life. And it is part of God's work to get us to the crown of life. So notice Jesus says, this is happening that you may be tested. Now the devil's involved. The devil is going to throw you into prison. But the devil is the servant in his opposition to Christ. He's the servant of Christ. And that's true in every case. So you may be tested. God is testing, not because God doesn't know the truth of our faith. We don't know the truth of our faith. And the world doesn't know the truth of our faith. Do we really believe this stuff? Do you know if you really believe it or not? I mean, if push comes to shove, and the cost is right there, you're going to lose your home, you might lose your life. Do you know that you'll stand and say, yes, I belong to Jesus? How will you ever know that? You'll know it when you have to make that choice.